how many pieces a week are you guys making?
I mean, we're making like 30,000 a day. And
Shit.
yeah, about 150,
That's
150,000.
incredible. Whoa.
Yeah.
Kudos to you
It's
guys.
a different beast now.
I love it.
Obviously, uh, I put my twist on it, I have the vision of growing it and making it, you know, what I think that it should be or where it should be, but it would never be there with what my dad did.
Welcome to Love Stories. I'm your host, Omar Pereney. This is an inside look at the bakery world, chef's journeys, and the business behind great food. Today's episode is a special one, not just because I'm joined by someone I admire, but because together we cover two sides of the croissant chessboard here in Houston. My guest is Alex Londoño, if you speak Spanish. If not, you can call him Londono. He don't mind. He's the owner of Croissant Wholesale. I believe it's the largest croissant wholesaler in the city of Houston. Not a biggie. His family started the business in 2003, and over the past 2 decades, they have scaled into a true production powerhouse. Shit, I got goosebumps when I said that. Supplying pastries to cafes, hotels, and business all across town. Where Love Croissant kind of focuses on small batch, artisanal handmade layers, Alex runs a high volume operation that gets croissant into more hands than almost anyone. Indeed, anyone I know. We're different in approach, but aligned in the love for the product. Together, we're part of the same story. We just recently became friends, but there's something special about meeting someone who speaks your language in butter, in flour, in family, and in building something real. So let's talk about growing up in the industry, the journey of a family business, and what it takes to build a city pastry foundation, one croissant at a time. Alex, welcome to the pot.
Thank you, thank you. You really built me up there.
Dude, I'm so excited.
I never thought that myself would warrant being on a podcast, but I'm here, so let's do it.
You know what, bro? Me neither. And so, because people wouldn't invite me to their podcast, I just made my own.
Yeah,
So you can do the same thing.
yeah.
You got this.
Not to mention, you only gave me like 4 hours to decide. Well, no, technically, you only gave me like
Well,
1 minute.
thank God this is not like a croissant that takes 3 days to bake up. Uh, let's just kind of explain a little bit. Well, first of all, what's the connection? I'm gonna say a little bit about how I heard about you guys. So I just started the croissant journey
Yeah.
less than 3 years ago. And when I say the croissant journey, I mean like 3 years ago, I didn't know how to make a croissant.
That's super impressive, by the way.
Thank you.
3 years and to where you are right now, it's amazing.
It talks a little bit about an impulsive, obsessive personality. Take us back, if you don't mind, to 2003. And what do you remember? How did your family get into the croissant business?
Man, I mean, my parents are divorced, so I really never saw the background, everyday grind in the beginning. It was more so once I got into high school. And my mom was like, "Hey, you need to work." I was like, "Okay, okay." She goes, "You need to go work with your dad." And I was like, "Oh God."
Jeez.
So me and croissants, truthfully, I kind of had like a negative connotation with croissants. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you.
I feel you.
I mean, I'm a kid. Like, I want to play. Like, I want to hang with my friends. I want to play sports and stuff like that. So when my dad would wake me up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go, help him, put triangles through a machine to curl it all day long for 7, 8 hours a day, that didn't sound fun for the average like 15-year old, right?
This is great. This is honestly a great just angle because love stories are always long.
Right,
Love
right,
is hard,
right,
and so no wonder how the first few years of this story were not just buttery love
right.
and golden flakes.
Yeah. So, I was doing that, and my mom had bought me a car and she was like, if you want to have this car, you have to go work. So, I was doing that with my dad in the summers. And like I said, it was truthfully I didn't have that love and passion that my dad to this day he has. So I was always kind of like pushing back to that, and I kind of wanted to do my own thing, and I left, and and then I found my way back and stuff like that. So now I look at it in a different angle.
In those
And
early days, what was the thing that you remember doing the most? Just like just that
yeah,
motion, the curling,
that,
curling.
and then at that time, my dad was doing the mixing, the laminating, getting on the table, cutting with a wooden triangle,
Wooden triangle.
literally a wooden triangle.
Just so people can make a bit of a put things into perspective, from wooden triangle to about how many pieces a week are you guys making?
I mean, we're making like 30,000 a day, and so
Shit,
yeah, about 150,
that's
150,000.
incredible. Whoa,
Yeah,
kudos to you
it's
guys.
a different beast now.
I love it.
Obviously, uh, I put my twist on it. I have the vision of growing it and making it, you know, what I think that it should be or where it should be, but it would never be there with what my dad did because, he laid that foundation.
I just met your dad. What 2 days ago? Funny enough,
No,
I think
yesterday.
was it yesterday?
I think.
Time flies when you make croissants.
Yeah.
I you also met my dad, by the way, and it was really cool. Obviously, to see the interaction, both you and your dad, me and my dad, and what have you. There's definitely different dynamics there. But I see your dad, and he's just had all the grit. You know, when I saw
Insane. Insane.
that wooden triangle, I was like, "You're kidding me!" Like I didn't even like I learned how to make hand lamination after I learned how to, work with a sheeter.
Right.
I always knew I was trying to do something that was going to be huge, scalable, and I was going to try to execute that through other people. And I also have that culinary background. But just hearing your dad talk about like starting this business was very, very inspiring to me.
He has a lot of stories. I mean, he has so many stories. You could sit for weeks. I mean, and he has a lot of failures and a lot of hardships that have gotten him to where he is today.
You know, it, another thing that I wanted to talk about is like in the entrepreneurial journey, which, we've all had our own
Right.
angle and version of it. People, just like in a marathon, and I know you run,
Mm-hmm.
people cheer you up at the beginning and at the end. So that when you launch this company, they're rooting for you. You have your wooden triangle. Everyone's rooting for you. And then they root for you when you have this big exit and you sold the company for 50 million or whatever.
Right.
But then there's a death valley in the middle. And that's what I think people need to be talking more about. It's like the hard thing is not necessarily just to start it or to sell it. It's like in the days when like maybe business is flat or the piece of equipment broke down and you have to do 30,000 pieces a day, in some alternative way, or missing all the holidays and all this stuff. So I just love the idea of just hanging out more around people that go through the same thing, because like you shouldn't need to be cheered up, to run. uh but it sure helps to have other people that you can relate to. How do you feel values from your family shaped the company?
So a lot, a lot, a lot. Um, my dad is
Curved, like
so we're talking about values that he's kind of given me, right? So
yeah, like I
I
mean,
mean,
none of us we're not friends,
we're not
right?
really we're not really talking here about my mom because
This episode is brought to you by Vermont Butter, the secret behind those beautiful buttery layers in every Love Croissant. Made with 84% butter fat and imported from France, Normandy, that is. Vermont doesn't just make croissants, everybody. It makes memories, available for food service and home bakers alike.
she wasn't really part of that, but my mom was great, great mom. But in this scenario, is like the values that my dad gave me, I would say is, just not abusing yourself, not abusing your business, your friendships, all of that. He's a true believer in like if you do good, good would come back in relation to working hard. So he was never that guy that was like, "Hey, I'm gonna work and I'm gonna be rich." No, he was like, had his head down, kept on going, went through lots of obstacles. And like, even till today, like, he's not that person that's super flashy.
He's not the guy that's counting the hours. I like to say that if you like to count
Exactly.
hours, you really are not going to be counting
No,
dollars.
no. Up until recently, he stopped working. Now he comes in a little bit later, which is, to me, is just like insane. Like,
Like he's
because
coming at 5 now.
no, like he's coming at it 11 or 12, but this is after like 20 years. And to me, it's just like seeing him come in late. I'm just like, God, this is the guy that was coming in at 2 o'clock in the morning and leaving at 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's so awesome.
So he's given me a ton of great, something good, in the sense of like, I don't necessarily need to be like that. I don't need to be like him, but he's definitely a good example on how to succeed in business.
I think we we value uh intelligence very much, obviously. And it certainly takes a lot of intelligence to do business. Uh but I think determination we don't really talk enough about.
Right.
And I do think that is the secret sauce, for any business. In other words, had your dad done tacos or sushi or empanadas, it's pretty guaranteed he would have built it to, an
Yeah,
empire.
he's always said, and he kind of said it in Spanish. He's like, "Yo puedo vivir en China y todavía hago mi vida." I was like,
Yeah, I love
I
that.
believe him. He's pretty much saying like, I can live anywhere and I can make
Especially,
a living.
gosh, if you know how to make bread, bro, like you're set. Like
Yeah.
people will eat bread. People would eat it up.
I mean, and this is coming from somebody that's from Colombia, that came in, that crossed the border with $5 in their pockets and stumbled upon French people, started with them, worked with them for 20 years, and now like where he is. It was just he was at the right places at the right time and had the right determination.
Can we just like double click on the fact that like two sides of the croissant chessboard in Houston are filled with Colombian and Venezuelan blood? Is that not
Let's go.
fascinating?
Let's go.
And you know what else? The pasta world is the same. Colombians have a monopoly in the pasta world
Really, I didn't know
in
that.
Houston. Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a couple big names like De La Casa Pasta and Fabio, and they're both
Really?
Colombian. They're fabulous.
Okay, great.
Did you ever ask your dad how was the decision made about going wholesale or retail? And I ask that because I personally, I don't want to use the word struggle, but like I ask myself constantly, like, should I be more heavily invested in wholesale or retail? Understanding, for you guys at home, that wholesale is just volume, right? It's horsepower.
Yeah.
It's bigger equipment, more hands, more people, more logistics, the smaller margins. When you do retail, obviously you have the ability to deliver not just the product,
For sure.
but wrap it in an experience, and also being able to, maybe the right word is command the full price, right? As opposed to that discounted price. I am loving both, right? Because I'm a chef that has like that culinary background, so I love retail. I love talking to people and all that.
I do too.
But I'm learning about wholesale, and I'm obsessing over it because instead of making, 200 relations per day, it's that one relationship. It's that connection with that person that's also a businessman that you can look eye to eye and make a deal, and understand that I'm gonna take care of you, you take care of me. And one conversation can be hundreds of thousands of dollars per year.
Absolutely.
I just think that's fascinating. And then obviously you sprinkle the consulting side and the passion for business. So how do you guys make that decision, or what are your thoughts between wholesale
Well,
and retail?
he kind of already had that under his belt. So he worked for this company called Le Charme de France. I think he kind of told you about it in the 80s. And then he met a gentleman, and they started a company called GB Foods. And he actually, I'll give you the shortened story. So he started working for him, and he was doing ice cream, actually, at the time, like sorbet. And he told the guy, he was like, "Hey, I'm not doing croissants, so don't even think about it." Because I mean, the process is
Yeah.
insane. You know that. So So he said, no, don't. So, and apparently, maybe not, I don't know if it was the next day or something like that. He comes in, he sees a croissant machine, a sheeter in a frozen truck. And he's like, hey, I told you I was not making croissants. And he was like, come on, let's just do it. And that company ended up growing to like $5 or $6 million.
I love that. That's in yearly volume.
Yeah. Which was, and we're talking like 90s.
That's
The
amazing.
90s, yeah. So jumping to Croissants Wholesale. So he was working for that company that I was just telling you, and his boss shortened him $100 on his check without telling him. And my dad is just like super prideful. He's all about respect. Don't do shady stuff to me. And he had warned him like a couple years, hey, the day that you disrespect me, I'm out of here. And he saw that on his check. He said, thank you for everything. I'm out. And he walked down Hollister, which is down this street, like that crosses under 290. He had walked like 2-3 miles to get home. And he was like, damn, what the fuck am I going to do? He literally said, what the fuck am I going to do? That's what he told me. And that's how that birthed Croissants Wholesale. But they were doing wholesale with GB Foods.
Right.
So he already had that.
He knew that.
He knew that.
That was the
He
right
knew
angle.
that. And he had connections. And he started it with a partner. Shout out to Ramon. Great guy. I actually work with his son.
Love that.
Son, he's an amazing guy. Yeah, you didn't meet him that day. But yeah, that's how he got into that whole thing.
I love that. That's so cool, dude. That's a great story.
Yeah.
And so what is the biggest challenge today, right, at your scale? And maybe after this, I want you to explain to people like how do you guys make croissants? Because it's just freaking fascinating. Like if you guys trip when you see like 3D printed stuff, that's kind of like what my face looked like when I was seeing their production line. Pretty fascinating. And then when I was showing, my team videos of your production, they were panicking because, for each machine.
Gotta hurry up.
Yeah. And there was like, hey, Jagu,
You're not.
Hey,
You're like,
we're coming for you.
pretty. Let's do that. Let's roll it. No, you gotta go.
What is the biggest challenge in wholesale, you think?
In wholesale, I mean, just like in any other wholesale business, I mean, you are trying to produce as much as possible in a day, right? And a lot of issues that I run into is, order. I mean, not as of lately, but before it was just, getting orders out. And this is a business that we created, or that my dad created, and Ramon, with zero marketing. This is
Right.
all word of mouth.
Just like us. We don't do any marketing.
Zero marketing.
This is not marketing right now. Is this marketing?
Kind
A
of.
little bit.
Kind of.
Shit. Okay.
Come on. I'm not doing podcasts.
I was like,
wholesale.
it's funny. So prior to the bakery, I own a restaurant consulting firm. In
Right.
fact, we're sitting in my restaurant consulting office, and I started a networking group.
Yeah.
And I did that in 2021. And here's this group of bunch of young punks, right? They're all CEOs, owners of their company, essentially like your dad's age, everybody, and older for the most part. And then they're all like CEOs of like architecture firm, construction, other angles of consulting and marketing, just different types of vendors that set restaurants up for success, if you will. And in our meetings, I hear like 2 out of 3 of them saying like, we only do word of mouth, and I'm there sitting like, no, you don't. like this is not a good idea anymore. But in 2003, especially in wholesale, right? Because again, you don't need thousands of relationships. Like you can start a business with like 3 clients
Yeah.
as long as they're the right client.
Yeah. Yeah. We were delivering in like little coolers,
Oh, we still do so.
like little like coolers that you would do like barbecues with.
That's amazing. Do you guys have like a small product line, long product line? What's the sort of product mix for you guys?
So essentially, they're all just different sizes.
Different sizes?
Different sizes.
Butter croissant.
Right. But we also we also have different butter blends.
Right.
So, which has gotten like very popular within the last 10 years. It's we call it extra butter.
Extra butter.
Sounds
Tell me more.
sounds really interesting, but it's not that interesting. But
Bro, I just think the grass is always greener in the other side.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
fascinated. I'm like, tell me
Yeah,
more about your butter blend.
all in all, it's like we have different butter blends, we have different sizes. You know, we cater to anybody. Technically, I mean, if you came to me and you said, "Hey, I only want French
I
butter,
really want extra butter. What did you say? Extra butter?
extra butter."
I want extra butter.
Yeah, I want extra butter. So right now, and regarding extra butter, it's like we cater to a lot of donut shops. Our donut shops is probably like 90% of our business.
That's so interesting.
So when school's out, it's like you're not really selling as much croissants because the kids are at home eating all their parents' food instead of eating croissants.
You know, maybe the title for this podcast should be The Croissant Kingdoms. And one is the cold croissant and the other one is the hot croissant. Because I think that's one of the biggest really differences. Is like
Yeah.
your product, you sell frozen, uncooked, and I sell baked, ready to eat.
Yeah, but your stuff is the shit, man.
Bro, I don't know. I just say I hope you don't buy ovens anytime soon.
I'm not doing that. You can have all that. You can
Okay,
have,
great. Great.
you can
No,
have it.
this is time stamped. I'm just letting you know.
You can have it. But you just send me all the
Thank
frozen
you.
people and I'll send you all the oven.
Hey, that's a deal.
Oven
That's a deal.
recipes.
I'm actually interested to see like how do you like the reason why I don't sell frozen is not that I don't like to sell frozen, is that I just don't
Have the ability
trust
or no?
that
Oh.
people will execute the
Okay.
proofing and the baking. Like for people at home to understand, trying to oversimplify the second fermentation that you do for croissant, you really have to have very unique conditions. You have to be temperature anywhere between 26 to 29 degrees Celsius, that is. Which what is that, like 80, 80, 85
Talk to me.
Fahrenheit?
Right, man.
Sorry, I last time I checked, you were Colombian, sir. What would your abuelita say
That's
when you're
fair,
like
that's
talk to me
fair.
in Fahrenheit? Anyway, so 28 Celsius, and then you need 60 to 70% humidity, which it's just hard to manage. Like if you have a donut shop, like 90% of your clients, you would have probably like a proofer, like a little proofing cabinet that has like one button and two knobs. One of them works, the other one half works. Just that's just the truth, right? And then
Right.
it's really hard to control the temperature because it has like hot, super hot, semi-hot, and then and the humidity is like this water tray thing. And I'm not making fun. We use this thing, you know.
No, I know.
But you have to manage every single one of these things, and so what we do, and I'm sure your customers do the same thing, and if not, you should buy a little hygrometer on Amazon. You put it inside, and then this thing will tell you not what you set it at, but what it is doing, because they all have different temperaments, and
I
so
like that.
yeah, so like that's what we do. We have a couple Rivians or the proofer retarder fancy ones.
That thing was
It's
badass.
pretty badass. Not gonna lie. But then when we have too much production, then we have the Chevys. We love them too.
Yeah.
Chevy people, if you're out there, sponsor us, please. We load them up, and they're all the same brand. They're supposed to all do the same setting. They'll do different shit, and so we have to put hygrometers in each one, and the hygrometer will tell us the temperature and the humidity. If the humidity is too high, well, obviously that's not good. But if it's too low, they start making that little crust in the outside. So we don't want them to get wet. We don't want them to have a little crust
Right,
because they don't proof properly. We don't want it to not be hot enough because then they just won't proof. And if it's too hot, over 28 degrees, the butter starts leaking out of the croissant.
Yeah.
And so, sheesh,
Literally all over the parchment.
it's a lot. And so
Yeah.
that's why every time I've attempted to sell frozen, I got mixed results. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna sell baked, and that brought us here. I'm glad.
That's actually an issue that we that's something that you don't deal with. You deal with it. I mean, you deal with it directly because you're baking them
Right.
in house. But when you're delivering a frozen croissant and you're kind of giving them directions and how complicated you made that seem, it was a lot of people like to proof a croissant. It's It's not easy.
No, I mean getting
I
having
mean, especially if you, I mean, we're talking about you, Omar, like, I mean, you're a chef, but I'm talking about the average Joe that you sell them 100,
yeah.
100 croissants and you're telling them how to proof it. And at the end of the day, they're going to say, hey, your croissant's bad. I'm like, whoa, no, no,
Whoa,
no,
whoa,
no, no,
whoa,
no, 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 no,
whoa.
no. So I have different battles, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you have different battles. The battle of the baked croissant is that people croissant is similar. God, this is like a touchy subject for me, but croissant is like a pizza, you know? And we all love day old pizza, but we don't want to pay for it. And so the croissant has like this peak moment between, the moment it comes out of the oven or like 2 minutes after that, and then maybe a 4 hour window. No, you certainly can reheat the product, and then a quality product or pretty much any baked good will come back to like close to, its peak
Right.
if you just reheat it. And that's one of the reasons why for us at our retail concept, our croissant is warm. Like you bite into it, it's flaky, it's warm, and that's how you know it's love. That was good, right?
I like that. Cut,
But
cut to,
espacio de publicidad.
nice, nice.
But
That was great.
but when you wholesale baked in Houston, well, now we're dealing with different humidity every day, different temperature every day, and people
This is in California.
exactly.
You're getting 40 degrees one day and then you're getting 90 the next day. It's like you're dealing, I mean, baking croissants in Houston, it's outrageous.
Well, and we
Then
started
I
at
get a lot
farmers
of the blame
markets.
for that. Like I
We-
can't control the weather and the humidity.
Dude, we started as a farmers market. Your son, we still go to farmers markets. We're obsessed with farmers markets, especially because we just like to see people.
Right.
But the croissant is like a very hostile place for a croissant. Like if you are a croissant, you don't want to be outdoors in Houston in the summer, gosh, or in the winter. Pretty like you never want to be outdoors, and so that's why I feel like one thing that our companies have very much in common is that resilience. Like we have had spongy ass croissants in the farmers market in a rainy day, and it's tough.
It's not fun.
No, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Doesn't necessarily sound fun. It's not fun, but I also think people just don't in business, at least from the outside, people don't appreciate the fact that pain isn't optional. Like building something, it's hard. It should be hard. I think. I think what it's not, what it is supposed to be optional is suffering. Uh, and what I mean by that is like as long as you have purpose and you know why what you're doing matters, then the pain kind of hits differently. And I know you know this because you work out really hard. You actually go to the same gym randomly.
Yeah.
We've never run into each other there, by the way.
No.
Maybe tomorrow at 5 a.m.
Maybe I go too early.
Maybe. What are your thoughts on like the last maybe 3 to 5 years and this croissant madness? Like you have been embodying the croissant business lifestyle. You pretty much grew up covered in butter and egg, no, extra butter and flour, and now you see croissant being like in the front of every magazine. Croissants being in every different shape, like not just it being the commodity that's always been like a
Right.
baguette, like that good old the classic pastry that in France they don't even think that much of it. It's just like every day. Again, it's a commodity.
Normal.
It's normal. But now we like there's all kinds of stuff. There's people like the Love Croissant guys that are making all kinds of funky dunky croissants. What are your thoughts? What do you think when you see this stuff?
What do I think when I see that? I mean, I see it every day and I still love it. I mean, I don't eat them much, but I really do appreciate the process and the taste and look of it. I'm always consistently like, if I see a picture of a croissant, I'm like, hey, let me look at the layers on this. You know what I mean? I look at it from a different perspective, and I know you do too. It's like when you look at a photo, you're just like, well, maybe they didn't laminate that well.
Do we have this group chat for our managers, and we only have one retail store. Like, wait till we have 100. But
gonna
every
happen.
day, yeah,
It's gonna
you
happen.
bet, you bet. Thank you. Where's there's some wood in here? We need to be knocking. Um, we have a group chat where we send out a picture of the display every morning when the first batch of croissants, and we do very small batch. That's kind of part of our culture. I love croissants, but when we set up the display, and we snap a photo and send it to the whole team. Right now, it's 26 of us, and I kid you not, like depending on the proofing of the butter croissant, it's gonna be the mood of everybody that day. If the shape is just not right, like there's a lot of yeah, there's a lot of pride in for us in croissant for sure. Also, we make them with our hands, and and yeah, we just take it very personal. It's very interesting and to see how humbling it is, and like how it's hard to ever drink your own Kool-Aid when you make croissants because you're really only as good as your last batch. I always say that.
Yeah. Just to touch on that whole thing, you're doing it by hand, and I'm doing it with like machinery, right?
Tell people about this. What
It's
like
it's
that?
no, but what I'm trying to say is like you we yeah, I aspire to have these machines to produce more croissants, right? But when I was at your place the other day and when I was looking at the ladies or the pastry chefs, cutting these triangles to make croissants, like that's beautiful. And sometimes, like you say, like I think the grass is greener on the other side. Like with this certain, example, it's just like it's so pretty. I don't really get to feel it, and touch the dough and curl it and do all that. It's just like through the machine and pinching it and freezing it. Like you guys have that true like I don't know, it's just badass. Like it's beautiful.
I think you're selling yourself short, and I think if I may suggest something, I
No,
think you
I'm
should
I'm
do a
not s-
video.
I'm not saying that,
I think
my way is
I
bad.
think there should be a video
Yeah.
done of y'all's process. People can see it in your Instagram. Like I'd love to see like a very curated video because it's mind blowing. Like
Yeah.
to see not just the volume, because there's also like a tremendous level of professionalism and the way you guys do it. It's just completely different.
Mhm.
That's why we said two sides of the chessboard
I
here.
always get nervous when people come because I don't know what they're gonna expect. Because when you see it every day and you're like, man, I love this, but I hope somebody else loves it.
I
But
feel
then
the same way.
when you come in and what you said, and it was just like, wow, like we were really here, like we're really doing this.
We really are. We really are. We're coming for you, French guys. No, I'm just kidding.
The South Americans gonna
Exactly.
take over the
Everybody's
croissant
gonna
world.
end up speaking Spanish in France. I'm
That's
just
right.
kidding, Frederick. I'm just kidding. Hey, what's your favorite type of croissant to eat?
Definitely just plain straight.
Plain straight?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
plain straight.
Is there a bakery that you admire?
Bakery I admire. I'll be honest. I admire Magnol.
Like, no? I
I
love them.
mean, it's really good.
They
It's
do
really
great stuff, and most importantly, they do a lot of stuff.
yeah.
I do give a lot of credit when people do many, many different products and they're able to execute that with excellence.
Have you noticed that the way that they bake their croissants, their croissants are like a little bit darker than your typical croissant.
That's like an European thing, and they
It's
may
like
be using deck ovens.
they're putting this twist on it, and it looks so
I
nice.
think I think the European way, it's always a little bit
It's like
darker
that, right?
and also smaller. One thing that I would say French people sort of complain a little bit about our stuff is like a French croissant is like 85, 95 grams.
Mhm.
Ours is 120.
Yeah.
Uh, and I just say everything is bigger in Texas, and they let me go. What
Jeez.
what is the most meaningful compliment you've received from a client? What's one thing that somebody told you when they, had a bite of your croissant or something that the croissant did for their business?
I actually got a text message last week that a friend she took her dad to try a croissant, and she was like that she said her dad said that was the best croissant he's ever eaten in his life.
Oh, that's so awesome, dude.
I mean
For
that
that.
that feels good.
I feel like the time almost stops when you have a bite of a freshly baked croissant. Most people have never experienced a freshly baked croissant,
A lot of
as a matter
people
of fact.
a lot of people know the croissant from Sam's Club.
Yes,
And
Sam's Club, if you're listening to this, also sponsor us. We don't mind buying berries from you.
They like the typical American likes, hey, I eat croissants from Sam's Club, or I eat croissants from HEB. I mean, that's like bread. That's not really a true croissant. You know what I mean?
I do. I do know what you mean. And funny enough, I buy croissants everywhere. Like I am addicted to croissants, almost like coffee to a
Mhm.
fault. Like I I buy croissants at the famous coffee shop, you know?
Which one?
The famous one that start with S and finish with Starbucks.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like I don't care. I want a croissant wherever I go. Same thing with coffee. Like, I consult, so I've done a lot of Asian concepts too, and in a lot of Asian concepts, they don't have this coffee espresso machine culture. For them, coffee comes in granules, and you just put it in hot water and stir, and that's coffee. Nescafe. You can also sponsor us.
I was in Tokyo. I was in Tokyo about a month ago.
I would drink that. I'm here for it. I just want coffee.
But their croissants are amazing.
Oh yeah, but people in Japan, they just take everything to the next level.
Insane.
Everything. They're not like Venezuelan Colombians. They know.
It's they're just super passionate about the process.
Alex, every time we do the pod, we have sort of like a mystery question that's left from the person that came before you. And right before you, we had this very, very celebrated pastry chef, dear friend of mine. Her name is Mickey. Oh, it should have been a secret. Anyway, Mickey, she just got awarded the first Michelin star. Not just her, but the restaurant that she works with, this restaurant group. She's a pastry chef at March. We should probably go there sometime. Stuff is amazing. And the question that she left for you was, what is one thing that you don't like or hate about being a pastry chef? In your case, I guess could be about pastry chefs.
They're super perfectionists, I feel like, all the time, and they kind of I don't know, like I've had a pastry chef like try my croissant, and he took a bite and he was like, this is not good. They
So,
can be assholes.
brutal honesty. That's
Yes.
one thing that we hate
Yeah.
from pastry chefs. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna sprinkle some fairy dust in there. One thing that and maybe it's been changing over time, but I think a lot of pastry chefs love gatekeeping. And gatekeeping, like, oh, I have the recipe. You can't have it. Don't look at my pebbles, my precious. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
like, I'm a savory chef, so I couldn't care less. For me, it's like I know something I want to share. Like you see, I'm teaching, and like, you could come to our class in 5 hours. I'm sure you're gonna get 4 or 5 things that hopefully would really improve, certain aspects of your production, like, or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I just love the sharing part because the thing that I'm doing today, I definitely don't want to do tomorrow. And I feel like a lot of chefs are very protective. Pastry chefs, savory chefs,
For
but
sure.
mostly pastry chefs, they're very protective of their craft and their recipes.
And you're like on the other side of the spectrum.
Totally, dude. I'm like,
Hey, come in.
yeah, outside
show
your
you.
NDA.
Show you here.
I hope my attorney
That was
doesn't
that was
listen to
that was a
this.
hard question. I'm sorry I didn't deliver.
Oh, don't worry. We're gonna edit it. Nobody's gonna know that it took you 35 minutes to answer.
It's
Well,
the champagne.
you don't know who's coming after or how many Michelin stars they may have, but you have to leave them with a
Question?
question.
Okay. Let's see. I think the question is, what do you prefer, the process or the reaction of the person that's trying your pastry?
That's a great question. Alex, thank you for helping me and helping us make the world a more delicious and prosperous place. See you next time.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Golden flakes in the morning light, butter melting, it's a tasty sight. Warm and soft from the baker's hands, start the day with tasty plans. Rise and shine, it's croissant time. Fluffy dreams in every bite. Butter love is so, so fine. Morning's here and feels just right. Coffee sips and a pastry crunch. Every bite a perfect munch. Simple joys on a silver plate.